Welcome to the Friday at 4 podcast series with your host Charles Luttrell and co-host Steve Kent.
Steve, welcome back to the Friday at 4, episode 90. How are you?
I'm doing well. Yourself?
It's been a whirlwind of a week. We will catch up after the show.
Yep.
Got lots to
Did you
talk
did you
about.
say did you say episode 90?
Episode 90.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
absolutely.
Didn't realize
Yeah.
it was that many, but okay.
Yeah, we are rolling along, man. I love our topics and I love that we have guests on our show. But I'm going to kick off
Mhm.
the topic real fast and then we're going to introduce our guest today. Topic, right? You came up with this. We talked about this earlier. Marketing, right? It's becoming really impersonal due to AI, um, cutting costs, right? So there's a lot of things that go
Mhm.
into um, looking at how to cut corners on marketing, right? And I
Mhm.
like what you said. The question was, will you buy from someone if it's not personal? And I had this conversation with my daughter right when you said this topic, her and I were out. And I said, Gabby, if you looked at all of my stuff and I sent you a flyer that was AI created, would you buy from me? And she immediately said no. Interesting, right?
Yep. Yep. So we all know the world is changing for many reasons, which we're not getting into because I don't want to start a whole conversation we'll never get done with. But
Right.
from the marketing perspective, there are consumers who are your individual and they're consumers who are your business, your government, all different levels of consumer. And because we live in a really crazy world that costs are becoming a bigger and bigger factor because of inflation and other things that are happening, the marketing world still has to reach out to the buying public, again, whoever that may be, but they have to reach out somehow. And the way they're reaching out more and more is becoming impersonal. So, for example, they're putting out generic AI ads or
Yeah.
videos or whatever they're putting out. They're putting out generic, call this 800 number. And when you call the 800 number, you're getting a voice response unit, not a person. Or they're putting out apps. Go on the
Mhm.
app, put in your information, and we'll give you what you want.
Right.
But they're not necessarily clear. They're not user friendly. If you have a question, who do you talk to? Because there is no human on the other end. So a lot
Yeah.
of those things are what we kind of want to talk about today. Um, how they're marketing. Is it conducive to getting customers or pushing them away? That's the whole topic behind what we want to talk about today.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna throw it to Todd real fast and let's introduce Todd to the Todd, go ahead and tell us who you are and what you do and give us a little bit of insight on what you thought about the topic today.
My name is Todd Crause. I run Silver Sun Consulting, where I reach out to business owners through two venues. One is from the stage doing public speaking.
Hmm.
The other one is working more closely with them and their management teams directly. What I do is I guide them to grow their business, not only using the tools and technology that they have, but also showing them how to leverage something that is being forgotten in this world that is rushing to embrace AI and technology. We still have people in our business. We still have people at the other end as our customers. What we're telling a lot of these people these days is that you're expensive and we need more robots, we need more AI, but we're not tapping into their hearts and their souls and giving them a reason to care when they do their work. When you layer on the right culture around your tools and technology, it is an award-winning combination. It'll beat the competition every single time. You can even call it your unfair advantage. So That is what I do, and that's how I help businesses grow and beat their competition.
Perfect. And I'm going to stick my 2 cents in here before Chuck gets back in. Sorry, Chuck.
Zach, go for it, because I
Um,
was just going to say, what a way to tie to our topic today, right, Steve? So yeah, have at it.
Perfect. Thank you, Todd. You
Perfect. Yes.
fit perfectly. Thank you for what you just said. And what I took, among many things I just took away from what you just said, there are two specific things. One is you're doing what you do from the stage. So it's back to that personal. And then the other thing you do is work with businesses personally. Again, it's perfect for this topic. It's the marketing on a personal level, not the AI level, not the interactive voice response unit level, not the impersonal app level. So that's perfect lead in for what you do to this topic. So thank you. And again, we didn't chat about this before, so that was perfect. So thank you. Okay.
You're welcome.
Chuck?
Yeah, Todd, real quick, I want to let you know that Steve and I pick a topic, but this is totally non-scripted. We just do this
Correct.
podcast, we record, and we just fly with it. We don't have a script sitting here saying we're going to talk about this, talk about that. We pick a topic and we run
Yeah.
with it. And I think what you said has so much value because it comes from the heart,
Uh-huh.
and you want your businesses to be saved with people and not taking it over AI, just like we are trying to figure out and talk about today, right, Steve?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. So before we get more into this topic, I want to give you a thought that I have been working on for years. And over the last whole bunch of years, we have seen the workforce for various reasons being reduced by tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of people every year, if not every month, depending on what's going on. And what I have never been able to understand, and maybe it's me, but I've never been able to understand that if you have company X and they employ 10,000 people and they lay off 3,000, you have 3,000 less people. If they can even find a job, they have 3,000 less people that will buy your good or service, your product or service, because they're ticked off, they got laid off. So why would they buy your good or service? But if you take that example of 3,000 out of 10,000 across every industry for the last bunch of years, there are millions and millions and millions of people out of work. So you may have a marketing vision that says, I'm going to use AI. I'm going to move my call center to offshore. I'm going to do something. You're bolstering your profit by reducing your expenses. So you're satisfying your shareholder. But who now has enough money to buy your product or service? You can only reduce your expenses so much.
But there's a lot of truth to that. At the end of the day, if you don't have people to buy your goods and services, then for what purpose does the business exist?
Yeah.
Selling to another computer, selling to another AI persona, they don't need anything.
Correct.
Yeah.
The business makes those decisions to satisfy the shareholders. That's why they're doing it. And I get that to a certain extent, but not to the millions of people that are now out of work, can't afford food, can't afford the place they live in. That's where I have a problem. And that all partly comes down to the marketing. So we're back to that same thing again.
Well, okay, let's just for one moment digress and look at what the motivations are. The motivations in the business world, in the executive suite, aren't all that different than the motivations that we see driving our politicians.
Mm-hmm.
Our politicians, we see their lives more publicly, and they're living through the next election cycle. I
Mm-hmm.
want to be elected
Mm-hmm.
again in 2 years or 4 years or 6 years. So they're making short-term decisions that have long-term implications for all of us as the people who live in their districts. It's not all that different in the C-suite, the companies that are living for the next quarterly earnings cycle and the one beyond that. They have a board of directors that's demanding that they produce results and within a short amount of time, or somebody else is going to get that share, and they'll be the ones that the board of directors says, we want results. So in a lot of ways, they're making short-term decisions for their own benefit, for their own bonus plan, their own stock options that are impacting all of us as workers, consumers, customers in the long run.
You nailed it, right? Because it all comes down to the dollar. These CEOs want to save dollar after dollar after dollar because, everything's going up, cost of living's going up. The prices are rising. They want to raise their prices, but they also want to save more money because they want to be able to put more money in their pockets. So they're thinking, if we cut out, as Steve's example, we cut out 3,000 employees and we let AI do their jobs, well, AI will save us tens of thousands, if not tens of millions of dollars, but at what cost, right? Is it going to be accurate? Is it going to work as well as they thought it would? And are people going to be receptive to it, right? Because the reason I say it that way, I had an example where I had someone who was reviewing my YouTube channel yesterday, and they were afraid to give me feedback, but I said, no, I embrace it. Please hit me head on with what it is. And they said, you're using AI for your YouTube thumbnail images, aren't you? And I said, yeah. Not all of them, but yes. And he said, that's why people aren't looking at your videos. Your views are low because they're seeing AI and it's turning them away from your channel. So that question raises, right? Yeah. Now, are we losing revenue because of AI, where we thought we were going to raise our revenue because we're getting rid of people who are not really working for us, but AI is working for us now? Great debate, right?
That is a great debate.
They're making the decisions that are going to maximize their profits, at least in the short run.
Short run, right? Absolutely.
And they are rewarded. Then they were rewarded handsomely, beyond handsomely for that. These CEOs make millions upon millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars a year. It is just so difficult for the average person, the average worker, to even wrap their mind around how much money they make.
Correct.
True.
And they're doing it by eliminating jobs, cutting costs. And we see it all around us with businesses that fail. We experience it with stores that stop offering the level of service or the quality of products that we remember in the past. And then we stop shopping there. Same with restaurants. And we say, well, the burger isn't the same as what it used to be. Something's different. It's smaller. It's just tastes like cardboard. I'm not going back.
And when
And
AI
eventually,
starts making
point,
burgers, I'm
they
out.
go out of business.
Yeah.
Right. And when the AI starts making burgers, I'm out. That's for sure.
Now, we've been developing tools since the beginning of time. And every time we develop a tool, we use it. So then every new wave of tool sparks this great debate. Well, now what? What comes now? The big change in recent years, within the last generation or so, is the level at which we can automate things and the level at which it can actually replace what we needed people to do. There's always been this great promise of that there's going to be jobs to replace that. And it's yet to be seen how true that really is.
Right. Yeah. It's
But in
true.
the meantime, you've got the two camps. One camp says, yeah, let's go with AI, how it relates to marketing, to bring it back just a little bit, relates to marketing. How do we get our product or service out to the mass number of people for the least amount of money? Do we really service them or let them go on their own? And the other side is keep the people. You need people to still be around to earn money to buy your goods and service. So there's that balance between the two. And with the speed of which AI is going, and again, this is not an AI conversation, but the speed at which AI is going is really scaring a lot of people.
It
It
really
really
is.
is. I'm
Yeah,
not
it
saying good or
really is.
bad. I'm just saying it's scaring a lot of people because it's so fast.
Yeah,
Well, that genie's already been let out of the box, and there really is no
Mhm.
putting it back into the box.
Correct. Correct.
It's more of a conversation of what do we do with it and where do we go from here?
Hmm.
It's if we want to distinguish ourselves from everybody else, then we have to do something a little different. And right now,
Hmm.
everybody else is copying each other with AI videos and AI text messages, AI phone calls, and they all are starting to look the same and sound the same, and they follow the same pattern. And as soon as it starts, you right away go, oh, delete. Now, I think I'm of the mindset that, okay, we've got these tools, we've got this technology. I'm not anti-tools, technology, or anti-AI. I think in its place, it can be a wonderful thing. It does not replace our relationships with each other.
Correct. Correct.
In a support function, it's a very good thing. But when it starts to become the relationship, then it falls apart.
So I have a couple of people that I know for quite a while, in various different professions. And they have, in the last year or two, gone back from a marketing perspective. I guess you could comes under marketing. They've going back out to their clients and potential prospects, and they are sending out handwritten notes
It,
wow,
to get
that is,
away from AI,
yeah.
to get away from the automated, to get away from all that stuff. Because from a marketing perspective, they're going against the tide and making themselves stand out. And
that's
And they
for
great.
those
will.
few people, it is working.
I
And they
like
will
that.
stand out because nobody else is doing it.
That's the
Yeah,
point.
yeah.
In fact, we still send out, I have a cleaning company in addition to my consulting business, and we still send out postcards.
Hmm.
A year ago, I would have said we do that because that's what businesses in the home service industry do.
Okay.
Now, when I check the mailbox, I'm finding very few postcards. We're becoming one of the only ones who still actually sends something that you can touch and feel to our customers and our prospects. In a lot of ways, we stand out simply because there is something that they can hold in their hands. Yes, it'll probably end up in a trash or a recycle bin shortly, but it's in their hands a lot longer than that little
Mhm.
electronic thing that flickered across their phone screen or their laptop.
There's a lot
I
of people
like
I
that.
know. Go ahead, Charles.
No, I'm saying I like that. I'm sitting here thinking, and my mind's smoking now of ideas for me as well with that because I think that's brilliant. Yeah, go ahead, take it.
Chuck sent me, I'm going to give you full credit because you sent it to me the other day. Maybe it was yesterday, that some pizza company, and I don't remember the name of the company, and I don't want to give advertising here, but excuse me. It was a company who sent, who, when you have a pizza, either delivered or pick up, whatever, in a box, when you open up the top has a place you like perforated. You can cut out like a U shape. You can take it out. You can put your face in and take a picture, and it's like a sports figure. And then if you take 10 of those tops, you can bring them in and get a free pizza. So from back to the same thing, it's the now the touch feel. It's not the automated AI stuff. It's something people can touch, feel, save, hang on to if they like, take the picture. And I put my face over Michael Jordan's, number and his body or whatever I do. that's great. And some people like that, but it's a great touch on the marketing side that's still personal.
Personal.
So I love
Yeah.
that. Thanks for sending that, Chuck. That was great.
I thought it was a great idea too, other than the safety
Mhm.
part where I commented and said, there's gonna be somebody gonna get their neck cut by putting their face in there and they're gonna
Ah,
slice their throat from the cardboard. But
that's why you have Band-Aids. Only kidding. Only kidding. Okay.
that's why you have galls.
No, no. I mean, obviously, you got to be careful because it is cardboard and
Right,
stuff. But
right.
yeah, but it's a great thing that's I've never seen that anywhere. So it's a great way to get your name out in the market.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
it's
Todd, what a great
it,
way using postcards still. I really like that idea. It's a great idea.
Mhm.
it's always been part of our campaign, in addition to the digital. And yes, we do digital and we're online and we have SEO. We are utilizing all the tools that
Mhm.
exist,
Hmm.
but we haven't stopped using the physical media. And it does generate business.
It does. It
That's
does.
amazing.
It's become an unfortunate cliche, but it's so true. We've never been more connected and at the same disconnected
Hmm.
Now,
ever
quick,
in our history.
now, quick question, because as I've been not completely beat up, but I've been slapped around, virtually about using AI and these whole data centers, taking water and all the good bad things that come with AI. Now, this might be a great way to get into these younger generations who are against AI by using this type of media, right? Sending postcards to that generation, sending things that could possibly be another way to market to this younger generation while you're sending things through the mail rather than giving them digital and AI products, right?
I think it is. I have no plans to stop using it.
Mhm.
What if you want to rise above the crowd where their marketing is just AI talking to everybody, then move AI to the background instead of the foreground and let it support your connection, your personal connection with the people you're talking to. Let it help you automate repetitive tasks that are easy to make mistakes with because they are repetitive and because they are monotonous. But let the face and the voice and everything still be the real human face and the voice. Let it be what can connect and form a relationship. Otherwise, it's just transactional. When
I
when
like that. Yeah.
when our world becomes purely transactional, then we're just simply going to judge it on, well, how much am I getting and what am I paying for it?
Right. Right. Well, when you're in the marketing world, and I know you are, and we all to a certain extent are in the marketing world, whether we know it or not. But to your point, Todd, there are really two ways to do this. You can be transactional or you can build relationships. And if you're in the mode where you earn money based on transactions, which would be better? Do you want a transaction and go find the next client? Or do you want to service the first client you have well so they give you referrals so now you're building the relationship? They
I
may both get you the same place, but one's going to get you there a lot quicker than the next one. So which do you want to do? And that comes again, building the relationship.
Yeah, I
I'll
like
take
it.
the second one any day. And here's why.
Yeah.
If you're transactional, then you live in this world that I've often heard insurance agents talk about because much of what they do is
Mhm.
often transactional. So they're always looking for their next kill. But if it's relational, then I'm layering one relationship on top of
Mhm.
another. And here's where it becomes a beautiful thing. When you keep customers and clients, and when they have repeat business, now you have an annuity business. There is always a flow of business and revenue from the existing base. If you want it to be larger, you add to the base.
Correct. So to restate something that Chuck said before, this is a completely unscripted, podcast. And I repeat that again because, thank you, Todd, I am in the insurance space and I also build the relationships. I am not transactional.
And you are then experiencing this
Correct.
annuity flow
Correct.
from your
Absolutely.
existing clients.
Correct. 100%. And that to me, that's the only way to go. You want people to remember you for the good work that you do. You don't want to have to keep going out every day. Where do I find my next potential person that I can help? Because that could be a long time between people that you help. And the bills don't stop. So, okay.
It
So
tends to
Steve,
lead
imagine,
to a little
Steve,
feast or famine when it's
yeah, so
purely
Steve,
trans.
imagine your business being all AI driven. Could you imagine
No,
if your business was just strictly transactional and you let AI do all the work for you? It would be a nightmare.
I would never do that.
Yeah,
Um,
it would be a nightmare. Yeah.
there are apps. There are apps for everything, okay? But for quite a while, and there still are apps for the financial space. And they make it so that people can invest online. But what the online doesn't tell you in many cases, and I'm sure they've made um, changes and made them better, but it may not tell you because it doesn't know your emotions when to buy, when to sell, what to buy, what to sell. What happens if it decides that it's delayed in sending you a text message that the market's going down? You don't look at your phone. You just lost the opportunity and you lost money because you didn't look at the phone. The market went down, you lost. But if you had somebody to call you or to be there for you to do it, you're much better off. To me, that human touch has to be there, has to be there.
That's a great example, Steve. It really is. I really like that because you nailed it by saying that example of what if the phone, what if it doesn't respond right away? What if it thinks
Yeah.
that something is incorrect and it just completely deletes you? It doesn't even follow up. For example, AI is doing the interview world now. It's if you don't even get past the AI part, you're not getting the job because it just kicks you right out of
Mhm.
the system.
There,
Wild.
there was something the other day. Um, I don't remember the name of the company, and I apologize if I'm stepping on toes, but there was some company that had AI, and AI, because they didn't program it the right way, it made a decision on its own and it deleted all the data for months from that company. Now,
Impressive.
yes, yeah. I mean, you could say it wasn't coded right and whatever else, but the fact is you're letting AI do everything without human intervention. And whatever man made can be broken. Man's making AI, it's programming it. It can be broken. If you give it too much authority by itself, it will make its own decisions, which may not be what we want, but it's too late.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, there was a story recently, within the last 10 days or so, about how two robots were interacting with each other and began mimicking each other.
Mm,
And so you look at things like that, and and your example of deleting all of the data, and you say, okay, we've developed these tools, but they're not there yet. Wherever there is, we're not. We haven't reached
So
that place.
true.
mm.
Right. So true. Nowhere is there yet.
What is there? We don't know what there is.
What is there, right? Where are we going with that, right? Yeah,
Uh,
it's so true.
no
Yeah.
So
idea.
we've automated everything, and these little messages pop up on our phone, and we're supposed to click on how many stars or click a number 1, 2, 3, 4 or something like that. Yes, the company's gathering a little information, but the richness and the depth of the information is completely lacking. And it's only a response to the questions they decide to ask. So why customers are behaving the way they are, they don't really truly know anymore.
Correct.
Yeah,
They
so
don't.
true. Yeah, it's wild, isn't it? It really is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't
so
know.
to tie all this together, real quick, just tie it all together because, the topic was, will you buy from a company that's not personal? And I think AI has a lot to do with that, right? Because there's so many people that have flocked to AI that's taken that personal out of it. And now it's impersonal because we want to try to make more time, more use of our time, taking shortcuts.
Mhm.
And the shortcuts turn into flaws, which turn into lost revenue because now free people got turned off by your ad. And now they're not buying from you because, well, it was AI and it didn't do its job.
Or the other thing is you start to look and sound like everybody else, and the customer already tried somebody else's product or service. They felt like they were burned by it. You come along and you have this Me Too look and sound. So they said, I've been there, I've done that. Why should I try it again?
Right. Yeah. So true. What a great topic, right? For today. I really think it was a great topic. There's so much more we can talk about this if we have more time. Maybe another episode we can bring it back around again and bring it up. I think there's so much more to this because marketing will always be needed by every person, every company, every business. I don't care who you are. Marketing has got to be your thing to really pull in those customers. If you want to be successful, you've got to market. So Todd, if we want to reach out to you to use your service, how do we contact you?
Go to www.silversunconsulting. Sun, by the way, is SUN. If you go to the About page, it has my bio, my email address. There's a phone number there. Call that phone number, it'll ring right here. And we can dive deeper into everything that we've talked about. I welcome the opportunity to have that conversation.
Yeah. We'd love to learn more about, what you do and how you help companies, especially tied to, our topic today, because it's such a broad topic, but yet so pinpointed to a huge problem of AI because it is really infecting a lot of businesses. And I think it's affecting smaller businesses more because now we're all trying to use it to gain an edge, and I think that edge is really starting to fall because, like in my case, people are seeing me as not somebody I want to do business with because I'm tied to AI, tied to data
Mm.
centers, who was clearly
Yeah.
taking all the drinking water in the area, and they don't like me now. So I got to pivot a little bit. I got to make another change where people can not judge me on my thumbnails, but judge me on my quality of my videos. So that's something I got to work on. So, Steve, want to reach out to Steve, man, 516-727-2294.
Or reach out to Chuck, 410-935-6132. We're more than happy to help you. Any of us will talk to you, answer your questions. Again, this is non-scripted, just a bunch of people talking about what we believe are important topics.
And we love to have guests. And Todd, I really appreciate you coming on, taking a little bit of time with us to talk about, who you are and
Hmm.
how you add value to the topic that we discussed today. And you're more than welcome to come on in any episode. You have the link now. You can pop in anytime you want on a Friday at 4 o'clock. We record every Friday at 4. And look, that's what we do. It's like you see, it's not scripted. We're just here, two guys with a guest talking about a topic.
Hmm.
And
Yep.
that's what we do.
Yep.
Well,
All right.
Charles, Steve, thank you so much for having me on your show. It has been such an honor.
Yeah, I'd love to have you. Love to have you
Yeah.
on again. And
Yeah.
before we close every episode, Steve and I like to always close out with the 4 o'clock podcast because
It's 4 o'clock somewhere.
I love that. I love that line because our listeners could be anywhere in the world at any time, and I'm glad and thankful that we do get listeners who watch the show after we record and do find value in what we talk about. And I hope that anybody in the future that watches this can really comment and really talk to us about what their thoughts are of what we talked about today, especially with AI, because, I think marketing and AI, that's a big tie, right? when you talk about marketing, that's the first thing you talk about is AI. Oh my God, marketing, AI.
Yep.
Then Steve throws the impersonal, personal word in, and then it really makes it snowball, doesn't it?
It does. It does. And that's why what we do, we come up with a topic we think is good, but it just goes anywhere. And that's a good thing because, again, it's not scripted. So, all right. So we're good. Perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it. I think that's what's cool about what we do, right? Is that we pick a topic, but who knows what direction it's going to go once we start talking. Well, like about Todd coming on. Todd, I love it because you were perfect for this topic, and we had no idea, that you were going to be this perfect for our conversation, and we appreciate that.
Oh, thank you so much. It's something that's near and dear to my heart. It's just the whole having relationships and rising above the noise that's out there.
There's a lot of it, ain't it, Steve? There's a lot of noise out there, I tell you.
There is. There is. All right. I think we're pretty much wrapping up. So
Yeah.
let's,
Well, guys, thanks again for another great episode. I
Yep.
appreciate both you guys coming on again, as always, Steve. It's been a great day. Hope
Yep.
everyone has a
Yep.
great rest of the day, great rest of the weekend,
You too.
and supposed to rain here all the weekends. I don't know where you guys are at.
Yeah. Here too. Here too.
Yes,
was
we have the
fun.
same forecast.
Yep.
I love it.
All right.
Guys, thanks
Sounds
again
good.
for coming on. Have a great rest of the day, and we'll talk
You
soon.
too. You got it. Thank you.
Thank
care, guys.
you.
Thanks, Chuck. Thanks again, Todd. Bye-bye.
See you guys. Have a great weekend.
You too.
Bye.
You've been watching the Friday at 4 podcast series with your host Charles Luttrell and co-host Steve Kent. Thanks for watching.